So, welcome back to LightWave Guru. Hi Scott. Hi Scott Cam. I've seen your posts on LightWave Salvation on Facebook, and I showed you yesterday 2-second different methods to do. Yeah, so that's what you want. So water drops on a bottle, yeah. And in the end, I give here under the video also a link that you can see in what way another artist do that. And the thing is, there are many different methods to do that, yeah. And the thing is, first, what is your solution? For what is it, yeah? And what needs that solution that it look brilliant in the rendering? And the thing is, the first what you want to do with the instancer system in LightWave and in Blender is to build for the drops instances. That is a possible way, yeah, no questions, but that means if you wanted to do so that the final looks very nice, that you have to know in what way the instancer system work, yeah? So it's in every 3D tool the same. If you have not knowledge, that's bad. And that's the reason that you then see relative quickly that you not become that solution you need, yeah. And for that, I say that the instancer system make only sense in that case if your client need it in that way, for special moves like animation or whatever, or yourself know what you do in the LightWave instancer system or in every other instancer system, yeah, in the other 3D programs. So would say that's a way you can do, but it's not the best way. A better way for the production is that you have a look to your time you have to produce it and your budget, yeah, and then you have to know the best way to do it quickly. Yeah, and the thing is, we have two sorts of 3D artists. One 3D artist do it only for his hobby. Their times plays no role. There's only important that the render output is nice, yeah, and you have fun with that, what you do. And the other thing is, if you do it as professional, that you have to see, okay, in what is the budget, in what time needs the client the final renders and so forth and so forth. So there you have many other factors. That is to, yeah, you have to think about it before you begin with that kind of production. That means that the instancer system is a solution, but only if you know the instancer system. So the second what I show yesterday in the forum was the displacement method. There you build with a grayscale bitmap a real geometry with a second layer from the bottle to stance, yeah, in that geometry real water drops. So that means you create, and I can show you that here in my example scene, that kind of a second layer for a bottle. Okay, I kill the rendering, it's not important in the moment. And you see it here, and that's, yeah, it's not a copy from the bottle, that's only the outside polygons from the bottles. Yeah, that's not the complete bottle, only the outside polygons. And with that polygons, you can, with UV texture displacement, by the way, in every tool, not only in LightWave, build via the UV map or with a UV map, an object that you build with the displacement mapping method. In the end, if you have a final, yeah, you can freeze out that object, or you can, in LightWave we call it save transform object. Then you save it and you can load back in the layouter and give it a second layer over the bottle, and then you have then there represented that water drops, yeah, that bubbles. If you use a specular shader with the right refraction index, yeah? So that's the next way you can do with displacement map. The displacement map method is, if you have the right grayscale bitmap with enough resolution, a good resolution, the rendering looks good, yeah, you have seen it and commented, say, yeah, that's cool. That you can do, that's the second way, but for that you need a UV, and I can show you today the third method. So we call it the normal map way, and in the normal map way, you do the following. I use here the Octane renderer. Yeah, that's the reason I see in real time what I do. And if you work much with glass or transparent materials in your production spline, then yeah, use Octane. Octane is the same as a VPR in LightWave, but it's rendered with GPU. So you have much more quickly a representation for that what you do, and that means that your production is faster and you have not so much stress, yeah, with your development if you're developing scenes like that. So, and you see here, if I now take that second layer with that normal map on that and put it on the side from the model, you see that's a really simple method, yeah? So I show you now the shader, what is a way to build a shader for that. In Octane, it looks like in that way. That's a simple specular shader. Then have you know, a normal map, and you put it in the normal input, and you have here a second layer for the opacity, and you put it in there, and that's all. Yeah. Then you can say, okay, you need a refraction index from, and then you play here with the refraction index, and then you have it. The thing with that method is that you need there not a UV map. So if I you build it now here with the Octane shader system, I use here the Octane projection, and you can here, for example, use also the box projection, and that's the same as in LightWave. Yeah, and now you have the possibility to say, okay, I need the drops much more little. Yeah, from that map, and you scale the map new, and then you can see that the drops now are much more little. Yeah, or you say I need bigger drops, then make it bigger. Yeah, so and that's the simplest method here to do things like that. Yeah, the thing is, if you need animations so that the water drops are animated on the bottle, then you can do the same with image sequences. Yeah, then you load not the still here, then you load the image sequence, and then there's enough footage on the internet in 4K or higher with water drops. They are in motion, so that's really not the problem. So I want to say that what you see here, that solution here, is normal map from Zachary Nitachema, yeah, and you can here download that normal maps, exactly that maps what you see here. And that's the artist he worked with Modo, but in the end that's the same, yeah? It's principle. You see it here. Here you can see the normal. Yeah, and he built 10 years before here a beer bottle. Yeah, and he explained here on that website in what way he built that beer bottle with that kind of water drops. And that's all what you have to know. And the technique here he used to drop that and build that, it's not important. So he used a Modo instancer system to create the water drops. That's all not from interest. From interest is for you here that you can here, for example, download that normal maps, and with that normal map you can test it on your own bottle. This principle, yeah, to build it with a normal map. And one more time, it's really a simple principle. You have only a specular shader and that normal map, and you have then to scale that normal map, yeah, with a scaler and with a projection technique in LightWave with a box, and I use here also box, but you can also scale it on the UV, yeah. So that's the same, and the rest is what your client or you need. for that what you do, and then you can, for example, take that map here, open it in Photoshop, and then you can paint that. As first, that map have to be seamless, yeah, so that you can scale it without that you have here the lines in your rendering. If it's, yeah, so as first it must be seamless, yeah, and the second is if you want to change, yeah, for example, you need more from that rolling drops here, you see here, then you make a second layer in Photoshop and copy it out and rescale it and drop it in the scene and delete on that place you want to have it, or other drops there before in that part of the image, yeah. And so you can design, if you want, drop by drop, that look, yeah, that map that you later use as normal map, but that's only a hint in the end. So would say that the thing with that kind of solutions is that you need, as the artist, if you do it professional and make your money with that, and you are not a hobby artist, then you have to know that there are many solutions out there, and that solutions are developed by many 3D artists in the world with different programs. But in the end, with the most 3D programs, you can do the same as all in other programs for the most cases. And also for that case, and the reason is that's a simple case. So that's nothing special burger, yeah? So that's more a nothing burger, yeah? Or everyday thing what artists do, he render, yeah, product renderings. So, yeah. And that's the reason that it's more important that you know in what way you can do it, what is the technique to do it, yeah? So for developing your own scene, so that you have in the end the same output. And for that, it makes no sense to say, that's in Blender more easier, or it's in LightWave more easier, or it's in their program in Houdini more easy, or in Maya, or 3D Max, or in Cinema, or in whatever 3D tool. The most important is that you have the knowledge to know what ways is in the pipeline and possible, and what need my client, and what's the best way to do it for my client, yeah. So in the end, the most clients send you examples that you can see in what way, what your client prefer, yeah. And then you can see, okay, my client prefer that output, that render output, so I have to use that way of production or that way of production, yeah. So for example, if you make really nearby close-ups with a camera, then in the end, your quality, render output quality is needs high resolution bitmaps for that normal map principle or for the displacement map principle. And the reason is, it's a pixel resolution, yeah. So if you make only total renderings or total views, and so then for the most cases that normal map method here is enough if your bitmap is high enough for that, yeah. And if you would make triple A renderings very close up in high resolutions, then is it in some cases better to use a displacement method. But the displacement method needs more time to create that, yeah. So for your client, then the bill is higher, so that you have to communicate for your client before. And the thing is that the scene developing need another time consumption as if you use, for example, that normal map trick or some other tricks that are out there. So that all you have to know in the end to, if you make it as a job, as a 3D artist, yeah. So enough talking. That's my 2 cents for the LightWave Salvation Forum, yeah, about that water drop theme. There are many ways to die, yeah. So later, bye.